So verse 20 and somewhere around, I think, 30th or so, what Krishna is going to do, Krishna is going to tell us a contrast between people who worship him versus the people who worship the demigods. So this is a section around 30th. I don't remember exactly which verse, but somewhere close to 30th verse. So you will see how Krishna will tell this is what the demigod worshippers get, this is what the worshippers of me as a supreme they get. So he's going to contrast that back and forth. So it's going to be, you'll see those verses interspersed between them. Okay, so this one starts with about the demigods. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. This is interesting, right? So what's happening here now? So those people who are enjoying, they're enjoyers, right? So that's what is being talked about here, that they enjoy Traividya, right? So it was Traividya. Yeah, so three Vidya. So now this can be understood in a couple of ways. Traividya. Traividya could mean there are the three main Vedas, right? Three Vedas, Rig, Sam, Yajur. It could mean that. It could also mean Traividya can also mean there are three types of is Karma Kand, Gyan Kand, and Upasana Kand. The Vedas are of those basically these three things. They teach us how to do karma, they teach us how to do demigod worship, and they give us knowledge. So that can also be Triveda, right? So Trividya. So it could mean both the things. So we can look at it both the ways. So three knowledge as in one sense, right? So earlier when we were doing the last section, we discussed about how Vishwarupa, right, this universe, how can we remember Krishna by everything, right? There was a verse, Tapami aham varsham nigranami utsajami cha. Amritam chaiva. I forgot the rest verse. Tapami aham varsham nigranami utsajami cha. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, so I'm heat and I'm the rain and so forth. So he's giving, so everything that exists in combination of matter and spirit, and for that Krishna is the beginning and the end, right? So that's what we had talked about. So now Krishna is mentioning something that Vishwarupa worshippers don't know. What is it? Vishwarupa means this nature, people who worship. That they are actually indirectly worshipping Krishna. So as we all know, that this Brahman, right, looking at this world, the intelligence behind this world and the nature, looking at it as a Brahman platform, that's the first step in God realization, right? So here Krishna is connecting everything to him and all leads to him. But here he's specifically saying that those people indirectly worship. That's what he's saying, right? So and what will be the goal here? Traividya mam somapa putpapa yagir ishtva swarga gatim pratyante. That we attain swarga by this. So who are those people? What do they do? Where is that? Somapaha. Soma, who drink the Soma juice. Actually saying drink the Soma juice. Prabhupada is translating it as. So it's kind of, Soma juice is it's not like something that you find in this world. It's not a alcohol drink or intoxicant. It's basically a sort of a nectar. It's Amrita, right? It's so that's it. It helps us attain piety, right? So in this world, when we get intoxicated, it is a temporary self-chosen state of madness. But when but Krishna is talking about something very different here, right? Alcohol takes our consciousness downwards, but Soma, it takes us upwards, right? So Put Papa, there's this word Put Papa, right? So Put Papa, Prabhupada is translating as purified of sins. So this drink, it purifies us of the sins, right? And Yagir Ishtava. So they are actually worshipping me. Yagir Ishtva. So they're worshipping me. So by drinking Soma juice and then praying to these demigods, what they are doing is they are actually worshipping Krishna, but it's indirect. So Krishna is saying it doesn't help them a lot. That's what Krishna is highlighting here. Okay. So let's see what else is focusing. So yes, they take place on pious heavenly planets. Punyam asadhyam surendra loka ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. So it's divya. Okay. Saying divya, ashnanti divya. So the word divya here, Prabhupada is translating it as celestial. So now you can understand that there are three things, right? One is terrestrial. So terra means earth, right? So terrestrial, celestial, which is higher level of consciousness, and then third is transcendental, which is spiritual. It's not just higher than material, it's not a higher material level. It's spiritual. It's completely out of this material world, right? So when such people they attain enough punya, they attain Surendra Lokam. Surendra is Prabhupada translated of Indra. So the word Sura means demigod, Indra is his name. So of Indra. So they attain that place of Indra. So terrestrial, celestial, and transcendental. Remember that three things, right? So this Divyam here that is being referred to, you'll see some places Divya also being used as transcendental, but here specifically Divya means celestial, right? So this it's telling us that it just takes you to a higher material level. It does not take you to spiritual level. So Bhagavad Gita is not teaching us to seek higher material happiness. That's not the goal of Bhagavad Gita. The goal of Bhagavad Gita is to seek something that is higher than material happiness. It's even beyond that. So that's what Bhagavad Gita is doing. And then there is this word, Divideva Bhogan. Divi is heaven. The word, let's see what Prabhupada translated. Divi, yes, in heaven. So that's what Prabhupada is translating as. Divi, Deva Bhogan. So such people go to the spiritual world. So Divi is heaven, Bhuvi is earth. Right? Om Bhur Bhua. So we say Bhua in Gayatri Mantra. So that's what Krishna is referring to here. Okay? So those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seekingly the heavenly planets, worshipping me indirectly, purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Okay.
Prabhu, one question there.
Yes.
Totally makes sense that, if you are in Indra consciousness, right, you will attain Indra's abode. And if you're in Krishna consciousness, you will attain Krishna's abode, right? So that makes sense, And I think in this particular case, that word Soma has been translated as some kind of pious activity, right? Which is catered towards Indra. But probably like a traditional understanding of Somras is like which you drink after you have reached heavenly planets. And when you drink that, then you fall down basically to earth, So that's our traditional understanding of the Somras, right? But here Somras is meant as like something spiritual, which is right. So
Well, not necessarily spiritual, but celestial, as Prabhupada is translating it. Divya.
Right.
Right? Not spiritual. Spiritual is even beyond that. So I just said, right, terrestrial on this earth, celestial in the heavenly planets, transcendental on the spiritual plane.
Right. So this complete makes sense. But
Yeah.
celestial even, right? But I thought like Somrasa, like at least in India when we are hearing about it, right? It was some kind of a liquor that people drink when they go to heavenly planets. And then, obviously they don't accumulate any karma. So they eventually fall down. So it's not like Somrasa takes them somewhere else. It's more like, they enjoy it and then they come down. Just like a
Okay.
tradition, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yes, yes. So I think, yes, you're rightly saying that we have this thought process that in the heavenly planets, when they drink Soma Rasa, they get intoxicated and they do something stupid and they fall down. Yeah. Yeah, but no, here it's completely different. As Krishna is also saying, Trai Vidya Mam Soma Paha Putpa. So Soma Paha. So Soma Paha is drinkers of the Soma juice. Right? So people, and here it's being mentioned as Prabhupada is translating it as it's a more of it helps them gain piety. It's not something that intoxicates them. That's the way it's being talked about here. They might be saying that Soma Ras in the heavenly planet. I don't have any scriptural proof of that they drink, and but even I have heard that. But yeah, so here it exactly means that soma juice helps those people attain some piety that they can go up. That's what it means.
Yeah, Prabhu, because I think somebody might have completely translated it wrong then. Because what I heard previously was like, you actually do pious activities, then you go to heaven and you drink somrasa. It's like the other way around. So,
Yeah, that might be the case. I don't know. I've never heard of soma rasa well, I get you. I get what you're saying. But yes, I don't know where that comes from. Uh, yeah, even I've seen it they show it in movies, right? They drink it, and so
yeah.
it could be different things. I don't know. The Bhagavad Gita perspective is that it's a part of a Vedic kind of a sacrifice. It's not a it's not like a recreational intoxicant. But yes, you could be right, because it might be some in some Vedas where I know that there's a plant called soma, right? Which is kind of, they squeeze the juice out of it, and it's a sacred drink, which is drunk by the priests and some devas and so forth, right? But then some scholars might have concluded that it is some sort of a psychoactive drug or some intoxicant or something. I don't know where that comes from, but from the Bhagavad Gita perspective, it's just that it's a part of a Vedic sacrifice. It's not like an ordinary alcohol. It's more like more a beverage that is used in Vedic sacrifices that help us be more religious, and not as sense gratification.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, may I say something?
Yes.
It's like a somarasa is like called bhang.
I don't know about that, but because bhang it's an intoxicant. It actually
it is intoxicant.
it confuses us more rather than elevating our consciousness.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So there could be a lot of versions out there, because Vedic scriptures, people may interpret it in very different ways. That is why we always stick with the Bhagavad Gita. We will never get confused if you're reading the Bhagavad Gita every day. Okay, yes, so that's what is being referred to here. So this is the first of the two verses. So what happens when people do these lot of piety, they get purified, their sinful reactions decrease, then they're born in the heavenly planet. So what do they do there? That's the next question. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So doing a lot of piety, going to the heaven, using up all that piety, coming back here again. So it's just a cycle that keeps going, that we are being told here, right? So that's what's just going on. It's going back and forth, right? So Prabhupada is telling us, one who is promoted to the higher planetary system enjoys a longer duration of life and better facilities for sense enjoyment. Yet one is not allowed to stay there forever. So there are better facilities for sense enjoyment. Good-looking bodies, probably. We don't get old. We don't lose our hair, probably. I don't know. No wrinkles. But there can be some better facilities for sense enjoyment. That's what Prabhupada is saying. So, and then Prabhupada is connecting this to as a Ferris wheel. That if sometimes you go up on a Ferris wheel, sometimes you come down on a Ferris wheel. And then Prabhupada says the purport is that instead of being elevated to the spiritual world, from which there is no longer any possibility of coming down, one simply revolves in the cycle of birth and death on higher and lower planetary systems. One should better take to the spiritual world to enjoy an external life full of bliss and knowledge, eternal life full of bliss, and never return to this miserable material existence. Right? And let's see. What else is Prabhupada saying?
Prabhu, I have one quick question. I think I missed something. So
Sure.
this, what we are talking about is right above Bhuloka, and that is what various religions describe, heaven, Jannat, whoever describes is this, right?
Yes, so we have Bhu, Bhuvar, and Swarga. So
Okay. So
Swarga
there
is
is
what we are
Swarga.
talking about here. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So yes, so Prabhupada is telling us it's like a Ferris wheel. Remember a Ferris wheel. Whenever you see a Ferris wheel, if you go to a local fair, you'll see this big wheel. People sit in it, it goes up and then comes down, goes up and comes down. And that's what Prabhupada is telling us. That's what we all are going to. Right? So
Prabhuji, in
yes.
previous verse, Prabhupada mentioned about those who are knower of Triveda, they go to the Maharloka, Janaloka, and Tapaloka.
Yes.
So they are all 7 higher planetary system.
Let's see what Prabhupada is saying. By such endeavor, the worshipper is certainly purified. Yes. So there is Bhu, Bhuvar, Swarga. Then there is Mahar, Jana, Tapa, and the Loka of Brahma, Brahmloka. So there are 7 planetary systems. So we can go up higher, right? It can be at the heavenly planets, or we could even go higher, depending on what our endeavors were and how much piety we have accumulated. Yes. Was that your question? Sorry, I didn't know if that's what you're asking.
I was saying that Prabhupada mentioned about these 3 loka in the purport. That's
Yeah. So yes, these are 3 loka. Then Prabhupada adds etc. So there are 7 in total, right? Bhu, Bhuva, Swarga, Jana, Mahar, Tapa, and Brahma Loka. So those 7. Yes. So we could go in any one of those, but they all are in the material world. They're not in the spiritual world.
yes.
So we will have to eventually come down. And I just saw that while I was reading it. Prabhupada is saying, by such endeavors, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature. So Prabhupada is saying they're free of the lower qualities of nature. What do you think are the lower qualities of nature that Prabhupada is referring to here?
Of the this Prithvi lokas.
What is it? What is it exactly?
Material
That-
lower qualities,
Okay. Yeah, material, yes. Somebody else was saying
Maybe
something.
Prabhuji,
by Nidra one.
I didn't understand any one of you. Say one by one. Shantadi, you were saying something. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, maybe those people who are not following the 4 regulative principles.
So those are the ones in the lower lower qualities of nature.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes. What were you saying, Sandeep? Were you saying something?
Prabhuji, I think the qualities themselves are those 4 qualities, right? By Nidra, those ones. Ahar and all of that.
Yes, you all are right. But if you have to broadly classify, they all fall into tamas, rajas, and sattva, right? Even that fear, that all that you're mentioning, not following the 4 regulative, they all fall in tamas and rajasic. People who are not following the 4 regulative principles, they fall in tamas and rajas. So those are the lower qualities of nature Prabhupada is telling us. So look at it this way: people who are demigod worshippers, Prabhupada is saying they come to the level of goodness. That's what Prabhupada is saying. So they purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature. So the lower qualities are tamas and rajas. They come to sattva. And how do they come to sattva? Look at it from this perspective. So tamas is like violence, right? Violence, laziness, intoxication. Rajas is more of intense material ambition, lust, greed, and so forth. Sattva is more of discipline, cleanliness, sacrifice, regulation, piety, all that. So many of the demigod worshipping requires that we rise early. It requires cleanliness, right? It requires many such things. It requires following some scriptural injunctions, not necessarily spiritual, more like Vedic. Okay, or pray to Ganeshji or pray to Lakshmi or so forth. Right? It also includes things like charity. Even people who are demigod worshippers, they also do charity. Obviously, not with the same thought as Krishna conscious people do it, but they also do it. So Prabhupada is acknowledging that they do get purified. However, as we have talked in the past, there is tamas, there is rajas, sattva, and then there is shuddha sattva. So you have to keep the distinction in mind. It does not mean that the demigods are in shuddha sattva. No, no. They're still on the material demigod worshippers. I mean. They're still on the material platform, but they're in a mode of goodness. They become more sattvic, but they don't transcend the modes. They don't come out of the modes. So demigod worshippers can come out of ignorance, and they can come to a level of piety, cleanliness, discipline, right? And that can qualify one of them for heavenly planets. But it then generally does not remove material desires, because their worship is actually sometimes, many a times, motivated by material desires. And actually, in the 7th chapter, we read there was a verse, right? 20th verse. Kame staiste hitagyana prapadyante anya devata. That hitagyana, those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires, they surrender to demigods. So that's what. So you have to understand that when people in the beginning, in the 7.2 verse, 7.20, just look at that verse quickly. You can also see what I'm trusting it. 7:20. Krishna is talking about demigods here. So just remember, around 7:20 and 9:20, both of these chapters, they talk about demigod worship. If somebody asks you where it's talked about, you should know that. 7:20, somewhere around those verses, and 9 chapter 20th verse. Prabhupada, Krishna is telling us, those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires, surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So here Krishna is telling us their knowledge has been stolen. Let's get back to what we are reading now. 20th, was it 20th? Yes, we read 20th. So when people, they're coming from ignorance and passion, they're full of these material desires. Their intelligence is dead. That's what 7:20 is talking about. However, when they keep doing some demigod worship, they can transcend those modes and come to the mode of goodness. That's what 9:20 Prabhupada is talking. So just keep that difference in mind. Don't get confused between 7:20. Oh, Krishna here is calling them lack intelligence, and then Prabhupada is telling us that they are in the mode of goodness. It's just a progression. When demigod worship starts, they are in the mode of ignorance. That's what 7:20 is talking about. However, when they have practiced it for a long time, they come to the mode of goodness. And that's what 9:20 is talking about. Okay. Was that okay with everybody? I hope I didn't confuse anybody.
Yes.
Yeah. So lower modes, material desires, demigod worship, coming out of the lower modes, going to the heavenly planets, coming back, starting all over again. That's what is happening here again and again.
Prabhu, and I think again this might be nitpicking, but 3 modes are there, right? Not 4. So how come like 4 modes, right? 4th mode, like which is basically the transcendental state, is not a 4th mode as such, right?
It's not a mode. You're right. Yeah, you don't call it as a mode. It's just a state where we achieve and we never fall down from there.
Okay. Because I think the question was about 4 modes, right? So which 4 modes or something you fall down to? The shloka refers to
lower qualities of nature. Yeah.
Okay, qualities. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. So yeah, so we all can think of it as a progression. People who in rajas and tamas, they have material desires, they turn to demigod worship. Talked about in 7:20. They perform demigod worship, they perform some regulated Vedic worship. Their character becomes more disciplined and pious. Their lower modes decrease. They come to the mode of goodness, they become eligible for heavenly planets. 9th chapter, verse 20. Because they're still motivated by material desires, they come back again here. 9th chapter, verse number 21 that we just read. However, whenever we come in contact with a devotee, with a pure devotee, he has the capacity to pull us out of this cycle. Then he or she can push us towards exclusive worship to Krishna. And then we come to the level of Shuddha Sattva. That's the way to just the progression. Okay. So that was 921, 920, 21 also we did. See everything okay here. Okay. Okay, so those two verses were about demigod worship. Now Krishna is going to tell us about worshipping of him. As I said, in these 10 verses, from 20 to approximately 30, Krishna will go back and forth. Demigod worship, worshipping him, demigod. So, but those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have. This is a very famous verse. Yogakshemam vahamiham. I carry what they lack. It's very, very interesting. Okay. This is 22. Yes. So, Ananya Chintayantam. Fixed mind, worship me. So those who are constantly absorbed in Krishna, Krishna protects them, protects what they have. Right? So it's a personal intervention and care. Lord takes of who personally approach him. Right? He reciprocates. He takes his personal responsibility to protect them. Right? So okay. Krishna is giving his expectation to us here. Right? It's not like a business demand. Only when you respect me will I help you. No, it's not that. It's about reciprocation. Constantly thinking, right, about Krishna. And we read this in the Nectar of Instruction. The verse number was 8. Tannam Roop Charitadi Sukirtananu Smrte Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya Tishthan Raje Tadanuragi Gani Kalam Naid Akhilam Iti Upadesha Saram. That worshipping all the time. So Prabhupada in that, if you go back and read that purport of the 8th verse of Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada says, Satata means once a day, not 24 hours a day. Well, you can do that if you like to, but at least once a day. That will be counted as Satatam. That's what Satata means here. So, and it's not like this is only applicable to some elevated devotees that, oh, yes, only. It's available to everybody who sincerely come to this practice. I think we talked about in the last discussion, we looked at one verse. It was in the 9th canto where Prabhupada tells us that this is available to the beginners. I think that's what Prabhupada said. Let me see if I can find that. 9th canto, 4th chapter.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So when unfortunate events happen to devotees' lives, can we still see them like as the form of protection can be different things. It could be, more opulence in material life, or completely taken away all those things that we desire. But sometimes people just pass from sudden illness and then they lose their lives. But maybe in a long term, it was protected by Krishna instead of getting more negative karmas, So can we consider them as his protection?
Yes. See, the concept of faith, when we say faith, one aspect of faith in Krishna means that, yes, there is Krishna. Krishna exists. I want to pray to him. But another integral part of faith is that openness to all possibilities. Right? You cannot say, oh, no, now Krishna is protecting me and now he's not. Openness to all possibilities is a very integral part of faith. What it means is that whatever is coming to me is Krishna's mercy. This full stop. That's it. If I'm getting hurt, I'm getting killed, I'm becoming a billionaire, everything that is happening to me is Krishna's mercy. A pure devotee does not think otherwise. He does not think that, oh, I'm leaving my body, looks like Krishna is not happy with me. Or, oh, see, I have 1,000 disciples now, looks like Krishna is happy with me. No. A pure devotee is always open to possibilities, whatever can come his or her way, and he or she accepts it. That's the meaning of faith in Krishna. I'm not sure. I thought I think I took a detour, but
Yeah,
go
I
back.
was thinking of that too, but in our material eyes, it is, not easy to see that.
It is not easy, but we can practice it. We're seeing everything is Krishna's mercy. And you can do it in one way by looking at your life retrospectively. Just look at your life and see some incidents which, when you were going through them, they seemed as if there was something wrong happening to you. But then now, probably a year later, 5 years later, 10 years, 20 years later, you might realize, no, that was right. Krishna did something right there at that moment for me. Otherwise, I would have made a mess of it or something of that sort. So we can look at our life retrospectively and get more faith in this concept that everything is Krishna's mercy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I was showing you that verse, right? We were talking about that it is available for everybody. Don't think that it's only available to people who are elevated. And this was the verse I was showing, and I found it. So this is 9:4:48. Okay. And Prabhupada is saying in the purport, if one simply begins devotional service, he is immediately protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 1866, Aham tuam sarva papebhyo mokshayashmi. Protection begins immediately. The Lord is so kind and merciful that he gives the devotee proper guidance and all protection, and thus the devotee very peacefully makes solid progress in Krishna consciousness without outward disturbance. So you can write it down if anytime you feel demotivated, lost, confused, oh, is Krishna taking care of me? You can read this verse, read this section, and tell yourself, no, Prabhupada has said right from the beginning, it's available to all of us. 9:4:48. Okay, let's get back. So yes, so that's we're talking about Satatam, right? That it means at least once a day. Our practice should be once a day. Okay, so now at this point, let me ask you this question. It looks like that Krishna is saying, I will only reciprocate if you worship. Now, when I initially heard this many years ago, I felt that Krishna was being a bit selfish here. So if somebody comes and asks you this question, and hey, looks like Krishna is being selfish in this verse here. I'll only reciprocate with you if you worship me. You become my slave or something like that. How would you answer that question? Who all are here? Somebody who has not spoken would like to speak. Vidya, are you there? Vidya Mati, want to tell us something? Not there? Okay. Anybody else wants to take a try? Let's see what is there.
Prabhuji, I want to add a point, like what
Yes.
I feel. I think it's not like we are becoming a slave of Krishna or Krishna wants us to be his slave. It's just that as we have read in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has given us free will. Until we approach him, he cannot help. It's just like a bird sitting in our heart, a good and bad. Krishna is observing us. Until we reach him, until we approach him, he cannot help us.
Okay, that's a good point. Krishna respects our free will, right? And that's free will is one of the biggest gifts Krishna has given us, that tiny freedom. And but I misuse it. I say, no, Krishna, I don't want you to interfere in my life. I want to enjoy independently. And then Krishna says, okay, you can go ahead, do that. Yes, that's a good one. What else? Anybody else has any other thought? How would you convince him? How would you convince a newcomer who comes and says, hey, I just read the Bhagavad Gita. Looks like Krishna is being selfish. Anybody else? Give it a try. There's nothing wrong in trying.
Prabhu, I have a thought on that is like any relationship that you form, there has to be give and take, there has to be trust, and there has to be, a level of where you have to sacrifice some things, right? That, that when you're alone, you can do, but when you're in a relationship, in any relationship, then, there are certain things that, yeah, you kind of put aside to build that relationship and move forward in life. So I think with Krishna, it's the same thing. We build a relationship, and there are give and takes, right? And Krishna has certain things that, he requires of us, right? And we require of him. And I think it's like a handshake. You have to make it work.
Now, that's a good point. Yes, give and take. Love is reciprocal in nature. Yes. No, it has to be some give and there has to be some take in love. Yeah. Thank you. What else? Anybody else? Any more thoughts?
I have an analogy to explain my point.
Okay.
So let's consider there's a bird's nest and there are like 4 or 5 chicks in there. So the one which is like always crying the most gets the largest chunk of the food the parents bring. So it's basically kind of that. So whoever is Krishna's devotee or like is, associated with Krishna, Krishna loves everyone, he's impartial to everyone, but whoever is, in connection to him, he is kind of that parent. He will be like providing more to that chick or the child.
So if I have to kind of just rephrase what you said, then you can tell me if I'm wrong, is Krishna, when somebody is spiritually advanced, he or she will be able to want that gift because they're advanced and they can feel the need for it. And that is why Krishna gives it to them. Right? This promise is making more sense for devotees who are advanced. Is that what you're saying? Did I put it correctly?
I was just trying to make a point that the whoever is calling out Krishna more, Krishna gets their attention, like gives them more attention.
Okay, yeah, no, I get that. Okay, yes, I get it. Thank you. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, I want to add one example.
Yes.
For example, one father has 2 young children. Both are his children, and he loves them both equally. And one child, say for example, one child insists, "I can walk by myself," while the other younger one reaches up and says, "Dad, carry me." The father lets the first child walk, but lovingly carries the second one. He isn't showing partiality here. I think he's responding to the child's trust and
Yeah.
dependence.
Yeah,
Like
thank you.
whoever.
Yeah.
So I think the reciprocation is based on the loving trust, but not the favoritism or slavery. He responds to the
Yeah.
devotees, voluntary surrender, and then just as loving father responds to a child who reaches out to him. That's
Yeah,
how
thank
it is.
you. That's a good point. Yes, it's the difference isn't the father's love. The difference in this is the child's openness to kind of reciprocate and to connect. Yeah, that's very good. Okay, now thank you. These are all very good points. Right. So yeah, so just keep that in mind because such questions come all the time when people read Bhagavad Gita and so forth. Okay.
Sir,
Now, Krishna.
one thing.
Yes.
So I had this discussion with someone, and like the similar logic, like what we think, right, in terms of like human experience. And I said, like, how you reciprocate and all of that. And he said that, you guys are like bringing down Krishna's logic according to the human understanding. How do we know that Krishna wants that? It's like your human understanding of relating in a human way. But then to me, so what I told him is like, if we do not follow the human instincts, then basically we are lost. So we have no hope actually, because that's the only thing we can go with, and that's ingrained in us. So in a way, human instinct is kind of divine. Is that a good explanation, Prabhuji, or how would you explain to someone like who says that anything that any experience you are relating as a human to Krishna is actually your own limited interpretation?
Yeah, I think you rightly said, and there is a verse in the 11th canto which talks about the 4 ways people. I'm trying to remember. I think some comes up in the 11th canto if I can find that. So yeah, there are different ways, right? There's pratyaksha, what you see. That's one way to take knowledge. Anuman is another way to take knowledge. You make logical inferences, right? But both of them are flawed. Both of them are flawed because you're using our sensory organs. But when we follow what the scriptures are telling me, and that too through a devotee, a self-realized soul, that makes it understandable for us. Yes, that's correct. I cannot understand it. But a self-realized soul who's at the level of Shuddha Sattva, he or she can guide it to us. And let me, I think if I can find that verse, it's the 11th canto somewhere. So yeah, so I think you mentioned, you put it correctly. We cannot by ourselves, but somebody who's a self-realized soul can do that. Not us. 17. Oh, yeah, here it is.
And the self-realized soul has basically told us that similarly how humans reciprocate, divine reciprocates, right?
Yes. So that's why we follow. That's why in the first canto, second chapter, there is a verse, Bhejiriya Munyo Tagre Bhagavanta Madokshajam. Sattvam Vishuddha Se Maya Kalpante Nitanhim. Let's look at that verse. So Bhejiriya Munyo Tagre. Yeah, fine. Bhejiriya. This verse I was talking to. Yes. So this is 1:2:25, and this tells us previously all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material condition and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world. When we follow such great authorities who have self-realized souls, we also become eligible for liberation. We also become eligible to gain that knowledge. That's the way to look at it. The other verse I was showing you was the other verse I was showing. I think it's a different one. Wait, this. So there are four types of evidences: Vedic knowledge, direct experience, traditional wisdom, and logical induction. Right. So these four ways by which we can. And out of you see, direct experience is flawed. Our logical induction is flawed. Traditional wisdom, yes, what my parents taught me or my grandmother taught me, it's okay. But it's only when we go to this Vedic knowledge through a pure devotee is when we are able to understand and we can become detached from the duality of this world. I don't know if this is not written by Prabhupada, so I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, these are the two verses I would like to bring to the evidence.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay. 23. Those who are devotees of the other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. So now Krishna has come back to again telling about demigod worship. So he talked about two verses, demigod, one verses 9, 20, 21, 22 and 23 about worshipping him. And now 24 is again, 23 is bringing himself back about demigod worship. I'm sorry. So it's a contrast with demigod worship. Those who worship other demigods faithfully, they are worshipping Krishna only, but they are doing it improperly. Avidhi purvakam, that's the word. Avidhi purvakam, that's they're doing it wrong. That's an important point to understand. Demigod worshippers also serve Krishna, but improperly. Some people try to twist this verse and say that, oh, even they're worshipping demigod is also correct. They forget the verse Avidhi purvakam. So in 7th chapter, Krishna used the word alpavedasham for demigod worshippers. Here Krishna is using as they're doing it avidhi purvakam. Demigod worshipping is not illegal, it's just improper. It is given in Vedas. But we also know Vedas are progressive in nature. There are different Vedas for different people. There are Vedas that are meant for people in the mode of ignorance. Some Vedas or some scriptures are meant for the people who are in the mode of passion. So that is why The Vedas can have that demigod worship, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's meant for people like us who are in a mode of goodness, who are doing bhakti, which is the topmost. Right? That's what is being told here. Avidhi Purvaka. Okay. And Prabhupada is ending by saying, in other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. Okay. Now again, Krishna establishing himself. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. So, aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhu evach. Again, he's the topmost. There's nobody beyond him. That's something we can always remember. The point here is, what Krishna is highlighting is, fall down. Who do not recognize that Krishna is the only enjoyer, those people fall down. So point of this verse is fall down. 2021 demigod worship, they go to Swargaloka and back. 2022, on the other hand, those who worship Krishna, he'll protect them from forever. 23 demigod worshippers are worshipping me indirectly. And here 24, Sri Krishna says, why it is not appropriate to indirectly worship Krishna? Because they will fall down. So, can anybody remember a verse that we have read in the past where Krishna talks about a similar concept? Sarva Yajnanam, that I am the enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Anybody remembers? I'll give you a hint. It was the last verse of one of the chapters. No? Okay. The last verse of the 5th chapter. Bhogat Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhirdam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim. So there also Krishna is talking same thing. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Yajna. Right? Bhokta Yajna. So the same similar thought process. Okay. This is 24. Yeah. So here point is ignorance of Krishna's position leads to fall down. Okay, that's the essence of this verse. And then Krishna further establishes it. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. Yanti deva vata devan pitri yanti. Bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino apima. Different paths lead to different positions. All paths don't take you to the same goal.
I have a question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So here, fall down means that person will be in the like we discussed in the Ferris wheel. He will not come out. Is that correct understanding, Prabhuji?
Yes. Yes, that's the correct understanding. Fall down, they will not be able to progress on the path. So what Krishna is establishing, even demigod worshippers can progress and come to bhakti. However, if they don't understand that Krishna is the only enjoyer and master, they will keep falling down. They'll go to heaven. Instead of from heaven going upwards to, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka, and then spiritual world, they'll fall down again to the material. That's what, yes, that's the correct understanding.
Sure. Thank you.
So yes, and 25, Krishna is giving different destinations. And by Prabhupada's mercy, we all have this opportunity to be in this last group here, worshipping Krishna. Yanti madhyajino apiman, that we can go back to him and live with Krishna.
No.
And never come back. Let's see if anything's highlighting. Okay. And Prabhupada is saying the Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society to the effect that by simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home, back head. So we all have this opportunity by Prabhupada's mercy. Okay. And now Krishna specifically talk about bhakti. This section from 26 onwards, it will be mostly about bhakti. Everything about bhakti.
Prabhuji, so what do you think of having multiple demigods in the altar with Krishna? Some devotees have like a lot of Ganesh and Shiva and Lakshmi and all in the same altar.
You can have different demigods on your altar. However, we should have that understanding. They should, if we think of them at the same level as Krishna, then that's a wrong understanding. You can have them on the altar, no problem with that. However, if you think that, oh yes, they are equal to Krishna and I'm offering them bhoga, food, and it's the same thing. No, it's not the same. People have this misconception that any form will do, right? But the Bhagavatam, what everybody wants to hear is, where do we place our attention? Who is the ultimate object of meditation? That was the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So yeah, if you go to Hinduism, oh, we have got Shiva, and you can see Lord Shiva everywhere. Good thing. But then people worship Shiva. Somebody goes and worships Shani, right? People have all these misconceptions. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam reading is very important. That's what they wanted to clarify at Naimisharanya. Where do we place our attention? So, and as I was saying, these Puranas, they are progressive. Somebody might come and say, oh, Shiv Puran says Lord Shiva is supreme, right? And somebody might come say, oh, Devi is supreme, Durga is supreme. We all have to have an education before you move up to the higher levels, just like in mathematics, right? If you walk into an advanced class and you see all those students making wiggly, those lines over there, and say, oh, that's all nonsense. 2 + 2 is 4. That's only maths. No, we should not do that, right? There is Brahma worship and what. So what we have to do is, as I was saying, we have to clear the conception. If you arrange your altar at home, you put Krishna and Lord Shiva at the same level, we have made a mistake. We may keep demigods, but we have to place them appropriately according to our understanding. First, we offer everything to Krishna. Then we can take that prasad and offer to the other demigods, if you are so inclined to. If you are not, that's fine. My altar doesn't have any demigod picture. And my parents were demigod. They worship all the demigods. I don't have. So we have to have that understanding that the demigods are servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is a hierarchy, and it all ends in Goloka Vrindavan. In the spiritual world. Goloka namni nijidhamni tale chatasya devi mahesha haridham shuteshu teshu tete prabhava nichaya vihitasya hena govindamadi purushantam ham bhajami. There's a verse in the Brahma Samhita which tells us of this hierarchy. There is Devi Dham, there is Shiv Dham, there is Golok. That hierarchy is there. Sorry, I gave you a long answer. Did that make sense?
Yes. I remember reading Prabhupada's purport about how government official bribery, he used the analogy of a government official bribery. People try to have a quicker result by bribe officials, but that is actually cheating.
That's cheating, yes. Yes, that's cheating. Okay. This now, so 26, now Bhakti starts. This is a famous verse. You all might know this already. If one offers me with love. Yes.
Just one question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So we, at least I have some understanding. So I discriminate between demigod and Lord Krishna, Bhagwan. But a person worshipping demigod might say, for you, he might be demigod. For me, he is Supreme Lord only. Like Shiva is Supreme Lord for me. And they might quote some verses like Ye yatamam prapadyante, like saying Krishna is merciful, he reciprocates to me, even I worship in this form.
So you ask them to read the whole verse. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sadheva bhajamiham Mama Varmanu Vartante Manushya Partha Sarveshan. They have to understand. All the paths lead to Krishna only if you know the destination. If you don't know the destination, then all the paths don't lead to Krishna. So, but yeah, see, one thing you have to understand, Prabhu, when you are talking to others, you have to understand their mood. If they are not in a mood to listen, you don't have to bang your heads with them. You pay your obeisances, say, okay, thank you very much, and you walk away. Let them do whatever they want to. You don't have to correct them. However, if they're in a mood to listen, you can give them Shastric knowledge. Give them some references from Shastra. I just gave you a reference from Brahma Samhita, for example. So for that, we also should know the Shastra. But obviously, only when the other person is ready to receive this, should you offer it to them. If they are not ready to receive, you can say, okay, fine, you do what you like to. That's the way I approach it.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. But Shastric knowledge is very helpful. It always, when we back up all our claims and suggestions with Shastric knowledge, it just brings a lot of weight to it. Then you are able to convince those people better.
Sure, sure. Understood.
And Shulan Yatra put a very good statement there. You can only wake up someone who's sleeping, not someone who's pretending to sleep. Thank you. Yes, the famous verse, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prachati. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Krishna is accepting. So the theme of this section is Bhakti is the topmost of all form of worship. This verse talks of the simplicity of Bhakti. Anyone, anywhere can practice Bhakti Yoga. It's Patram. Patram means one leaf. If plural, it becomes Patrani. So one Patra, only one leaf. Phalam, one fruit, not Phalani, not many fruits. Krishna is saying, just give me one fruit, one flower, but do it with devotion and love. And that's what he is hungry for. He's hungry for devotion. Offer best of love. He repeats itself. What is that? Uparatam Priyat Atmanaha. Right? So it's similar sounding. Bhakti Uparatam, offered in devotion. Priyat Atmana, for one who is pure. These are very similar words. So Krishna wants to establish that. Right? So the mood behind the offering is very important. In Mahabharata, when Krishna goes as a messenger, he refuses to eat at Duryodhana's house. Duryodhana had cooked like 50 delicious dishes, very good chefs cooking. Krishna says, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to come to your house, Duryodhana. Because the offering, the mood behind that offering was not good. But where did Krishna go? Vidur's house. And what was he eating? Vidur's wife was feeding him banana peels. She was so ecstatic when she saw Krishna, she forgot what is she feeding. And Krishna was eating it happily because it was coming with devotion and love. So there's not much qualification required for Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, in the beginning, 1967, when the early days, he used to give classes at the 26th 2nd Avenue. One day, this drunk guy just walks into the classroom. Prabhupada is in the middle of his class. He walks into the middle of the classroom. He's drunk. He's thinking of alcohol. He goes to the toilet. He puts a couple of toilet rolls there and comes back and goes out again. And Prabhupada said, see, this is bhakti. He wants to serve. We all want to serve. Right? So that's what Krishna is establishing. Demigod worship is very elaborate, complex. Krishna worship is simple. So Krishna reciprocates by his mercy then. We know the example of Pushpam, right? Gajendra. That he offered a Pushpa. Was that? Narayana Akhila Namaste. I forgot that verse. There's a verse where he's saying that. Right? So he's looking for love. But that doesn't mean if we have millions, we still offer a leaf. Keep that also in mind. We have to offer whatever is the best. Sudama brought chipped rice because that's the best he could bring. And that delighted Krishna. Okay? So don't just think that, oh, even if I become a billionaire, I'm just going to offer a leaf to Krishna. No. Offer the best to Krishna. So, and then Prabhupada talks about in the purport how Krishna does not talk about flesh. Here. What was that? If thus meat, fish, and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offering, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, and flowers and water be given. And he says, I'll accept this offering. So yes, no flesh offering to Krishna, no meat, no fish, no eggs. That's significant. And Krishna eats it. Krishna eats that offering. There's a very famous story of Raghunandan Thakur. Raghunandan Thakur was he's a follower of Lord Chaitanya, and his father was Mukunda Das, and his father would always offer. He had Krishna deities at home, and he would always offer laddus to Krishna. One day, Mukunda Das, Raghunandan Thakur's father, had to go somewhere, and he told his son Raghunandan Thakur that, hey, offer laddus to Krishna, and give him something to eat. That's what his father said. Okay, Raghunandan Thakur, in his simplicity, he offered laddus, and he just sat there, like a child, and he said, Gopinath, please eat. And Krishna got so controlled by his love that his hand came out and he picked up the laddu and he actually ate it. And the plate became empty. And in the evening, when Mukunda Das came back, he said, okay, where is the offering? I want to eat it. And the son said, Papa, but he ate it. Krishna ate everything. Mukunda Das didn't believe it. So next time when he was going out, he told his son, I'm going out, you offer. But he stood in a corner and saw. And he saw that actually Krishna comes and eats the laddu. But the moment, Krishna sees him, and actually the child sees him, Raghunandan Thakur sees his father, Krishna just leaves the half-eaten laddu there. So there is a place called, Khanda, where they still pray to that half-eaten laddu in Gopinath's hand. That's the way he's prayed to, because that's the way Krishna reciprocates. Okay? So Krishna reciprocates. And somebody might say to you, the benefits of what's the benefit of prasadam? It's all just your spiritual, beliefs and myth and whatnot, people say, right? So it's not that way, right? Prasadam at a material level is cooked hygienically. It's in the mode of goodness. That itself brings a lot of quality to it. It's healthy, right? But devotees, we look at the transcendental part of mercy of Krishna coming through it, right? As I said, some people might say it's blind faith, but no. Through food, we are offering our devotion. There's this, if you remember in India, I don't know if people still do it. When I was growing up, if my mother would give somebody something, somebody send sweets at somebody's house, they will not send the box empty. They will put something in the box and then return it. But for a third person, he will see the same box coming out of my house going to the other house and the same box coming out. They won't see the reciprocation. So similarly, when we offer food to Krishna, we can see that reciprocation. So Krishna takes the devotion that we are offering and gives us mercy. And that mercy changes our heart. Right? So actually in India, there was a case that, ISKCON in India serves free prasadam in prisons. There was a criminal who used to eat that prasadam. And when he was released, he actually committed a crime and came back to into jail. Because he said, I never get that good food outside. In jail, I get Hare Krishna Khichdi. Similarly, ISKCON feeds to underprivileged children across the country. And there was a study which I read about where how these children, they have become very calm. They have become more organized by eating prasadam. And you all might have heard recently, West Bengal, the government changed, and ISKCON got ISKCON was requested to supply food to all the schools in West Bengal. So I'm not sure how big that order is, but yes. So bhakti, reciprocation, it's devotion, and then and mercy comes back to us. But third person who is not in devotion will not be able to see it. Okay.
I have one quick question.
Yes, please.
So usually we hear that people say that, I mean, I've usually heard people saying that they can taste the difference between prasad and not non-prasad. But I feel like in my life I've never noticed that. So I was just wondering, like, how does that happen? I mean, of course, now at this point, I'm initiated and all that. That is definitely because of the prasad. But I was just wondering, like, what's that concept behind, like, taste changing?
Well, it's the same concept, right? Your mother's cooking, it might not be perfect. It might be far away from perfect. But whenever you go, wherever you go in the world, the same dish, somebody might cook it perfectly. You'll not feel the taste in it because your mother's love is not in it. So same thing when the devotees have that love in their heart, they can feel the difference. We might not, might be we're not at that level yet to understand it, but it's the same concept. Mother's food, however improperly she might cook, but that because she cooks it with love, anywhere in the world you go, you'll still miss that food. You'll never be able to get that taste. So it's the same concept, but coming out of love. So, but then again, don't expect that every food will taste. And some people, it's not like eating food is always eating prasadam will always be beneficial. Some people get diseases and so forth. We don't eat so much of prasadam, but yes, that's the thought process that I see it.
Yeah, so like I was just wondering because I offer every day, but I don't see any difference.
It's okay. You'll see it, and also remember, Krishna's reciprocation is very um, uniquely designed for you. His reciprocation for you might be very different in comparison to the reciprocation he's given to somebody else. Because we all are individual souls, we all have an individual relationship with Krishna. So if you don't feel a taste in the prasadam, that doesn't mean Krishna is not reciprocating. He might be reciprocating in some other way with you. Some people, he might be reciprocating in the prasadam way. Some people, he might be reciprocating when they look at the deities, they just start crying. I don't have that relationship. So don't try to think that you are at a lower level or something. It's just that Krishna custom designs it for individuals according to their requirements, their relationship, and so.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I'm just saying it's a long program. I'm seeing if there's anything else that we need to. Change of blood. Okay, this is. There's one thing I remember. I'm just getting something in this. One point that book I had sent. Oh, right in the beginning, Prabhupada was saying, for the intelligent person, it is essential to be in Krishna consciousness, engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord in order to achieve a permanent, blissful abode for eternal happiness. So, Prabhupada is saying, you have to be in Krishna consciousness to come to a level of eternal happiness. That's a very important point here to keep in mind, because many times people say that, oh no, why only bhakti? There are other things that bring happiness also. Or let me put this as a question to all of you. How would you answer that if somebody comes and says, oh, you're just making it up? Why only bhakti? Other things can also bring happiness to you. But it's not that bhakti alone gives happiness. How would we answer that question? Somebody who has not yet spoken, somebody please speak up. Otherwise, I'll have to pull people out. Let's see who are there. I see a hand up. Deepti, is your hand up for this question?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I would tell them that yes, other things can give you happiness, but those are temporary. And devotion or bhakti gives you the happiness, which is eternal bliss, which is not temporary. So it's your choice what you want.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yes. Yeah, we don't counter them. Yeah, they can bring happiness. But the bigger question, as you're putting it, instead of saying, can this make me happy? You're saying, can this keep you happy? That's the bigger question we have to ask, right? Because everything material in this world, it depends on the circumstances, it depends on time, and it eventually fades away. But then Krishna, what Prabhupada is actually using some very beautiful words here. He's saying permanent, blissful, and eternal. He's using 3 words here. So these characteristics are not in the happiness of this world. Yeah. Only bhakti alone offers that happiness independent of any external circumstances. A relationship that cannot be destroyed. Right? And there's an ever-increasing joy with Krishna, because Krishna himself is unlimited. So yeah, no, that's a good point. Thank you. Anybody else wanted to add anything, or any other thoughts, something different on your mind?
Prabhuji, I would say one more thing, that whatever material thing is giving happiness to that person, if that person uses that thing in the service of Krishna, that the kind of happiness which he's getting from materialistic thing is temporary. That will be double. That will be like bliss for him. So indirectly it will be like a bhakti, because he is he is dedicating that the result of that happiness which he's getting from materialistic thing, that will go in the service of Krishna. So in that way the person will get happiness eternally, like inside also. So it's serving 2 purposes. Like whatever we do, we serve that in Krishna. Whatever we eat, we offer to Krishna. Whatever result, like whatever we earn, we give some part of it to Krishna. That doubles our happiness. So it's both inner way and outer way also.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, thank you. Yeah, when we offer it to Krishna, we get benefit externally and internally also. Yeah, yeah, and when we try to look for happiness in the material world, there are a few things that happen. Actually, the 4 things that will happen. Right. First thing, when we try to find happiness, we don't find it. That's the first thing, that we generally don't. Not every desire of ours gets fulfilled. So it brings frustration. Right? And just wanted to kind of bring another aspect to it. Bhagavatam gives an answer to all these psychological problems that we all go through. Right? When we desire something and we don't achieve it, it brings frustration. How do we respond to that frustration? Can anybody think of an episode in Bhagavatam where this happened? Somebody was frustrated, they were trying to achieve something, they were not able to, they were frustrated and angry, and then they reached out to Krishna. Or they got some intelligence.
Devahuti, Prabhu?
Devahuti.
Because her husband had left for something, and right, Kadam Muni, and then she went to Kapil Muni to get the knowledge so that she could get the ultimate.
But she was not looking for something, and she was not. What I was asking is, we try to find happiness, we don't get it, and we get frustrated. So was she looking?
Because she was looking in the happiness in her husband, right? But then Kapil Muni gave her a lecture, right? That real happiness is Krishna.
Okay, and that's a good point. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, Dhruv Maharaj.
Dhruv Maharaj. Oh yes, that's a good point. Yeah, he was looking for a kingdom bigger than his father.
Yeah.
And when
ultimately he will get Krishna.
Yeah. When he saw Krishna, he said, "Kacham which in one." And I was looking for glass, and I have jewels in front of me. Yeah. So yeah, that's the first thing that happens. You try to look for happiness, we don't find. The second thing is we find it, but it's not what we were looking for. Actually, it just was not what I was looking for. Right. And Dhruv's example could have been that also. And another thing that happens is we try to be happy in this world. We achieve something, but then it fades away over time. Like Chitraketu. Chitraketu was wanted a son. He got a son, became very happy, and then he lost his son. There was frustration, right? And then eventually we try to be happy, we achieve something, it is good, even it stays with us for some time. But then it brings a lot of negative things along with it. That again leads us to frustration. So yes, so in this world, there's no complete happiness. Yeah. Okay, next. 27. Yat karoshi verishnashi vechimosi nashi yatavashyasi. I will get this. Let's start this next discussion because I don't want to rush through this section. This is the most important section of Bhagavad Gita, right? We are in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters. We are in 9 chapters. Out of those 9 also, we are towards the end of the 9th chapter. So this is kind of the core of Bhagavad Gita. I don't want to just rush through it. If anybody has any thoughts or comments before I should we wrap up? Anybody?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, yeah, just to add on to the discussion we had about explaining somebody that all the material happiness is temporary. Though if we explain through different example, but the person doesn't have that understanding or realization, that will not make sense to him. He will think whatever he has done or accumulated brings him more happiness than what I am saying. So I mean to say it's not easy to explain it to somebody that what is real happiness unless somebody has some realization or experience or gone through something.
That's a good point. Yes, unless people don't have that experience, they don't realize what true happiness means. Yeah, that's also a good point. Thank you.
Also, I wanted to add on that my personal experience is that I was also, before coming into Krishna consciousness, I was also very much attracted towards Lord Shiva, and I used to worship him. But somehow, I guess, like I was just praying to serve him. So somehow, like I came into Krishna consciousness. So I do feel that it was through him. So
Yes.
it's just I feel that if I have to like tell someone that, how would I explain it to someone that Krishna is superior? I think the way to approach that is to tell them that you just like whoever you're praying, just like sincerely pray to them that you just want to serve them. And then eventually you will get the intelligence to come towards Krishna consciousness. And even if you see in the movement, like there are all these foreign devotees who are like Christians, Protestants, whatever. But when I hear their stories, they used to say that we genuinely want to serve. Even His Grace Mukunda Datta Das Prabhu, I heard his story. He was to be Francis of Assisi, his monk, like that religion's monk. So he was like genuinely religious. And because he was like that, that's how he was like directed towards Krishna consciousness. So that would be like my approach.
Yeah, that's a good approach. Yes, when we are sincere in whichever demigod we reach to, because they are Krishna's representatives, they are not going to misdirect us. So yeah, if we reach out to them sincerely, they will reciprocate. They will push us towards Krishna. Yeah. Thank you.
Prabhuji, just to relate that Mataji's point, I heard from Amrein Prabhuji. One day he was saying that somebody is in some other birth, if somebody is worship Lord Shiva, then as a prasadam, in this birth they have given the bhakti of Krishna because he is the greatest Vaishnava. So if somebody is sincerely praying to Lord Shiva in some other birth, then definitely they will ultimately get the bhakti of Krishna.
Yeah, they will get it. Yes. Yeah, our movement has a lot of Shiva devotees. Lord Shiva devotees. Yes.
Lord Shiv's akapat kripa.
Kapat kripa.
Akapat. Akapat
Akapat
kripa.
Akapat kripa.
Yeah.
Simple. Yes. Yes.
That we can worship Shiva or Brahma as like a Vaishnava.
You
Like,
can. Yes, you can worship them.
we
But
can
as
ask them
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
give the Krishna bhakti.
Yes.
If whoever is believing in Shiva and worshipping Shiva and other demigods.
Yes, we can do that. But you have to keep in mind that they all are representatives of Krishna. Now they are serving Krishna. We should not equate them to Krishna.
No. Yes,
Yeah.
but
But yes, we can ask them. All the gopis, they used to go to Katyayani for devotion. They used to say, "Oh, make Krishna my husband." They also used to go to a demigod. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.